first things first, I look a little different because this is a totally different style podcast than what we normally do. We're not BSing here. We're actually going to talk some like actual business stuff here. With me, you guys have met JP Schumacher, who is going to be referred to as Lieutenant Schumacher for this podcast. He is with the Chattanooga recruiting company now out in Tennessee, and with him is Staff Sergeant Davis, one of his top recruiters in his unit. And I just first want to say thanks for coming on, guys. This is like super cool. We've been talking about doing this for a while. It's just an opportunity for me to get your guys' name out there, because what like the program we're going to talk about today is just a really great program, and it's just, it's an opportunity just for us to talk business and a little professionalize the look a little bit more. So I'll let you guys kind of introduce yourselves, where you guys came from, and then I'll kind of lead us into the topics for today. So please, JP and Sergeant Davis, let's hear it.
Yep. So most of the viewers know me. I'm First Lieutenant JP Schumacher.
He's famous.
I graduated from West Point with Zach back in 2017, and then served as a combat engineer for the last 4 years before coming out here to recruiting, which is how I met Staff Sergeant Davis and how I kind of got into this program with him, which is basically, kind of what we do full time now. And before we kind of get into it, Zach, I really appreciate you letting us use your platform and your podcast to kind of talk about the program and to get the information out there to, whoever may be viewing it, to a lot of the coaches and higher leadership in the Army, to kind of show you guys what we're doing with this program, what our vision is for it in the future. And I really appreciate that. So thank you.
Yeah, of course. I'm like super, super stoked to be talking about this with you guys. I got to see some of it firsthand when I went out to your recruiting events, and it was like one of the coolest things I've seen, especially just watching, the regular Army kind of chug along for a long time. And you guys are like really innovating. You guys are really combining, sports and fitness and the Army, which is really all any like young kid could ask for. So Sergeant Davis, let's hear about your background, and I'll kind of let you, Sergeant Davis, actually give me an intro first, and then I'll kind of introduce the program a little bit and let you guys talk. So let's just hear about you first.
Well, first thing, I appreciate you having us on to boost this program up, like JP was talking about. I joined back in 2011, small town, Alabama. I joined as an infantryman. I went to Fort Benning. I went to the 103rd immediately after airborne school, which is in Vicenza, Italy. And that's, it's kind of where I grew into what I wanted to do later as far as this program and everything. And I actually got out of the Army and started coaching football. And, I felt like I needed the Army again. So I hopped back in. I just changed my job to logistics. I did that for 3 years. And then I volunteered to come on to recruiting. And then, I've been doing this for 3 years, going on almost 4. I'm getting ready to go to Panama City, Florida. And that's pretty much been my career here. So
Davis, you've had a pretty good career, man. You've been to Italy and you're going to Panama next. Like that's pretty damn good, man. I'm jealous. That's not bad. No, it's not bad at all. But anyway, really the reason why I got you guys here, we're talking Army Warrior Athlete Challenge Program. I'm gonna let Sergeant Davis, this is your baby. I want you to tell me the origin story. I want you to tell me where it came from, where you got the inspiration from it, when it happened, and after you talk, I'm going to show a little video to kind of put what you said into perspective about what you guys are doing. So let's hear about it. Talk as long as you want. Let's hear the background of this whole thing.
So about 3 years ago, I wanted to find a way to put quality people in the Army, and one of my ways was when you look at an athlete, you understand that they have to maintain a certain GPA to even play sport. These kids have faced adversity, when something didn't go their way in the fourth quarter or in the ninth inning, whatever, seventh inning, whatever sport they play, they've faced adversity. They, most kids these days, they don't get out and work out. Most kids are behind a cell phone. I know an athlete, you got to maintain some type of physical presence to play the sport. And so I came up with this program to get me not only to give back to the community, but to, have a great target market for the Army, because when we're long gone, guys, we got to have somebody to take. And so when you look at an athlete, absolutely, I know they're going to make it past basic training, past any of the schools that they see themselves doing because of what they did in high school. And so, and this was a way to help me out and to let these kids know I'm just not about, hey, do you want to join the Army? I'm willing to get out here and grind with you and show you, give you a little taste of the Army, because you never know. Like, for instance, we had a kid, he had one lung at a high school. Kid come up to me after and he's like, hey man, I really wish I could join the Army, but I can't because I only have one lung. So that goes back to giving back to the community. We just gave that kid an opportunity to say, hey, I did something that they do in the Army. Even though I can't join, I feel like I'm a part of it. And so it all ties into, the one main goal is to get in front of a target audience, but that might not have the opportunity to join. And that's kind of why I started it. And then, how social media goes, it just blows up and it goes and goes and goes.
Yeah, of course. That's awesome. And so give me like, a quick snapshot of what it looks like to participate in this program. If I'm a high school kid and you're coming to my school, JP or Sergeant Davis, you can explain what are you doing with me? Like, what's like, are you working me out? Or are you like, what exactly is going on? What does it look like? And then after you tell me,
I'll let Staff Sergeant Davis. Yeah, I'll let Staff Sergeant Davis kind of talk you through the specifics of the actual workout. But what I'll say about the workout is that we kind of like to take some military style workouts. Zach, as you are well familiar with, ammo cans, water cans, litter carries, all those kind of military style, team level, squad level workouts that reinforces leadership, team building, all those different things into about an hour and a half and 2-hour workout. And predominantly what we've done in the past, especially when Staff Sergeant Davis originally started the program, was most of our teams that we worked out have been football teams. And the reason that is a big part of it is because of the background of Staff Sergeant Davis and I. Staff Sergeant Davis played football. He coached football. He's big into the coaching world. And I think that's something that he eventually plans to pursue after he gets out of the Army, and he'll be damn good at it too. I played football. I follow the sport religiously. So that's just something that we both have a passion for. And is one of the reasons why we do football teams, but we absolutely work out any team who is looking to kind of bring that kind of adversity to their team and see how they react. And that's one of the biggest reasons we do the workout, is to put that team through that kind of experience, that kind of adversity, to teach them team building exercise. Because physical fitness, that's just the first part of being an athlete, of being a soldier. That's just the baseline.
That's level one.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's so much more to it. So I'll let Staff Sergeant Davis kind of talk you through what the actual workout looks like, and then we can pull up a short video of what that looks like.
Awesome.
So what we like to do is we break them down as a whole group, as the whole team. We break them down to let everybody know that it doesn't matter if you're a 4-star athlete, 5-star athlete, or if you're a freshman on the team, that nobody is higher than any individual on the team or better than anybody. And that kind of locks them in to understand, hey, we might have thought this was a joke, but this is not a joke. This is for real. We need to somebody's got to step up and lead, because we're about to go to work. And then what we do is we break them down into groups, depending on 10-man groups. Sometimes we'll have, with 100 players, it gets wild, loud. And that's when me and JP, we get into it the most, when we got them in the groups and we're just getting after it. But it's just from there on out, it's nothing but team building. And, they do ammo can lifts. They have a rucksack, water can, a litter. And then we make them a football, for ball security. The coaches love that. They go like a 2 to 3 mile route, depending on how far we want to go with it. And the biggest thing there is, I always tell the coaches, it's not going to be physically demanding at that point. What we do is we identify who the leaders are along this route, and we say, hey man, you're down, you're out. Who's going to step up when John goes down? You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I love it.
And the best thing is when you got one guy doing everything. He's got the rucksack, the ammo can, the litter, or the water can and the ammo can and the rug. And when we put him down, okay, well, somebody's got to pick up for this guy. And so that's one of the best things that coaches like to see also.
I love it. I love that you guys are taking your, really our military background. You guys have been through some pretty tough workouts, both in and out of uniform, and you're kind of taking the best of both worlds and you're applying it to these high school kids, basically. And I kind of like, I could see myself as a high school kid, like really liking this stuff. Like this is not something that I had access to, and like the recruiting part of it aside, I think this is just a really great opportunity for kids to get together and really like test their mettle against each other and against other teams. So I'm going to show a video clip here about what these guys are putting on for us, and then we'll kind of keep going with the conversation here.
Baby, you'll be famous, chase you down until you love me. Paparazzi. 'Cause you know that, baby, I'm your biggest fan. I'll follow you until you love me. Paparazzi. Baby, there's no other superstar you know that I'm paparazzi.
3.
Gets me.
Boy, that's awesome.
Hey,
That's so awesome. I know. I honestly get the chills watching that. That's probably the 5th or 6th time I've watched that since you guys sent it to me. And that is
Let me
like,
give video credit real quick. That video.
Shout him out.
Yeah, that video belongs to the Jacksonville recruiting battalion down in
Nice.
Florida. They put that together. They came out with their media and everything and did that for us, and they did a phenomenal job. That was a really cool video.
also to the 5 or 6 people just tuning in, like sidebar, feel free to comment, to send us live questions and comments if you want to ask, Lieutenant Schumacher and Sergeant Davis anything else you want. So, but we're going to continue with the conversation here. I want to see that. Like, I know my reaction to that. Like, that makes me want to run through a damn wall. You know what I'm saying? But my question is, like, what's the feedback you're getting from these kids and from these coaches? What's the feedback you've gotten from the community? I'll kind of let you guys both answer that. What are people coming out of these workouts saying?
You go ahead, JP. You go first on this one.
It's interesting because, you put yourself in the mind of a 15, 16-year-old high school football player, right? They're invincible. They're the greatest gift known to man. They're unstoppable. They're going places. They're the best athlete on the field. So that's kind of the mindset that is obvious when we step into these locker rooms. Sometimes it's a phenomenal football program that wins state championships. Sometimes it's a losing team who just came out of a losing season, previously. So, they'll be in the locker room and they see us coming in. They're kind of like, oh, like this is a joke. Like this is going to be easy. Like, recruiter, whatever, you know what I mean? And then as soon as the actual workout comes and they see that intensity, that energy that, Staff Sergeant Davis and I try to bring to every workout, then you see a complete change in attitude. They break down, kind of like Sergeant Davis was talking about earlier, to where, no longer are they on this pedestal where they think they're better than their teammates to the left and the right. It breaks them down, puts it into like reality and into perspective for them to realize, like, look, you're not going to go anywhere. You're not going to win. You're not going to succeed without the guy to your left and to your right. And so you see them get frustrated. You see them, kind of start fighting during the actual workout. They're frustrated. They're arguing. But by the end of the workout, you can just tell that, they put effort into something. And they and they learn something from it. And it's incredibly rewarding for us to see that kind of reaction from them. And I especially hope, that it's rewarding for them to kind of walk away from that and be like, you know what, today I learned that in the face of adversity, don't quit, give 100%, maintain that positive attitude when things are hard, when things are tough, and carry your teammates, because especially as a football team and as any team, doesn't matter how athletic you are, you could have 11 of the most athletic people on the field or whatever sport, but if they can't work together as a team, they'll go nowhere. Sergeant Davis.
Yeah, I agree. Davis, let's hear it. Yeah, what's the feedback in? What do you hear from the coaches?
Well, it's crazy. A lot of coaches, when they bring us in, sometimes feel like at the beginning, everybody's underestimating. When I explain this workout, what doesn't come into the explanation when we're talking to these coaches and, is the energy that we bring, that's what makes it. And, that's what, once it's done and over with, the coach, and this is what it is. And they're saying, where are you going? next? Who you got next? They like to know in the region.
Yeah, they want to know who else you're training. They don't want you training anyone else. I love it. I love the rivalry.
They want to know who's going to fold in the fourth quarter, and that's. I'm a completely, when it comes to that, as long as your team gets percent, I use it sometimes as motivation. Sometimes I'll go to some high schools and be like, hey, I know y'all got so-and-so on the schedule. This is what they did. This is how they showed up and reacted. Took charge. We challenge them sometimes at the beginning to try to let them know that, hey, your opponent that you'll play week 6, did work out. And then that kind of lights a fire under them.
Yeah, you're like, hey, this team you're playing in week 6, or your guys are like going to see in the playoffs, they completed this workout 3 minutes faster than you did. So think about that,
And
I want to add on to that too. At the end of the day, coaches, it is a competitive sport, but I will say this, coaches have helped me so much as far as referral to their friends that may be somewhere else that think that this could help their program. I'll use, Coach Abrams, for example. He's out of Cedartown School. He contacted a coach in South Carolina and said, hey, you might want to bring this to your program. Coach linked up with me. I scheduled the workout. Unfortunately, I'm moving on, but and it just, the dates were conflicting. We wouldn't be able to make it happen. But you're talking about a coach from Georgia contacted somebody in a whole different state to say, hey, this was great. That's what I like about it too, as far as the feedback from the coaches. It's a tight community and out by further.
Exactly. And we'll probably go into it a little bit later on, and kind of how the program has spread and how the popularity and the demand for it. We have schools all across the nation reaching out to us, which is just, we love to hear that, because it means that our program is actually making an impact. We've got schools from New York, Virginia, the Carolinas, Florida, the entire Southeast, Washington State. So the program is it's being heard of, which is good. But I was gonna say, for everyone that's just tuned in, could you pull up the video one more time and just run through real quick?
Yeah.
We kind of had a bunch of people tune in.
We had several people tune in. Lauren, your comment, great team bonding, absolutely. You're about to see, and I do agree. You guys,
we actually do
teams too.
We do girls teams. Like I said, this is not just exclusively for male football teams. That's just kind of what the demand is out there. That's who reaches out to us mostly.
All right, we're gonna play this video again for the 10 people that just joined. And I just love this video.
Baby, you'll be famous, chase you down until you love me, paparazzi. 'Cause you know that, baby, I'm your biggest fan. I'll follow you until you love me, paparazzi. Baby, that's a wild superstar, you know that I'm paparazzi.
3.
I love it. We'll watch that video 10 more times on this stream. That's awesome. But no, so I really like what you guys are saying. Lauren, thanks for chiming in the chat. The what I like most about your program is it's a football team. This could be literally anybody. Could be any team, sports or not, being I need a team building event. I need these 2 guys to come get us, or to come work us out. And whether or not it's, soccer, football, you name it, I'm all about it. And so that kind of leads me to my next question is you guys are recruiters. That's your job in the Army. So, is there an angle of I'm gonna kind of poke holes in the program right now because I want it to people see it for what it really is, because I think it really is pure and amazing. Are you guys doing this to recruit kids into the Army? Is this a recruiting tool? Or is that just a bonus? If it happens, if a kid walks up to you and is hey, I want to join the Army today, where do you kind of draw the line? Or you're not? I don't really imagine you guys are using it as a tool. But it's some people are like, they're just like doing that to, to recruit people, like talk to me about that. What's your opinion on, what's your perspective on that?
Sorry, Davis, I'll let you touch on it and then I can follow up.
So I'm gonna go ahead and tell you how it worked for me whenever I was recruiting, because now we do this full time. And so just picture this right here. I believe that the football coach is the most influential person in high school. You can't tell me I have a different opinion of that. People watching might have a different opinion. I believe that is the most influential person. And so whatever
your coach, your high school coach. Yeah, totally agree.
Whatever
totally agree.
Do for him and take care of him, that's going to help me ultimately get to the other kids. So for instance, when I would work out, a high school, I've never had to send out an email for me to every junior and senior teacher in the school to say, hey, this guy wants to come in and talk to these opportunities when they graduate. Only football coaches have ever done that for me. And now I'm in honors, science, math. I'm not even talking to the athletes now. Some athletes might be in there, but now I'm talking to other audiences that might not have heard of it because they don't have ROTC, because they don't have strength and conditioning. They have a regular PE class or they got work study. So it gets me in front of everybody, if that makes sense. And that was the biggest thing, the reason why I started it also. And then it all goes back to that giving back to the community. A lot of recruiters forget that our job is, they think that, most recruiters just sit at a desk. They forget that we're the first person they see in the Army. You know what I'm saying? They don't see, Lieutenant Cohen out there at the Ranger Battalion. They see Sergeant Davis, and that's just the first impression of that joins the Army. So
yeah,
am I going to sit at my desk and play on social media to find this person? No, I'm going to go out there and show them what it's like to be in the Army, and then get in front of multiple, the whole school if possible.
I would say, to your point, sorry to cut you off, but I mean, what I would say to your point is like, you look at 100 of these kids on a football team, and you're working them out like pretty good, right? You're these dudes are like going through it, obviously, and you could probably look at 100 of those kids and be like, those 22 men or women, they have what it takes, like those guys clearly have it for the Army, because like you, Davis and Davison, and JP, like you guys look at kids every single day, and the second they walk into your office, they're like, you're either like, hell yeah, that dude's a good fit for the job, or nah, he's not. You just know. So, and this is a great medium. A great medium for you guys to, I mean, not necessarily evaluate, but again, just like give a great first impression of what the Army is like,
Absolutely. And that's kind of the saying actually out here in the recruiting world is like, you recruit in your own image and likeness, kind of the kids that you're going to recruit are going to be similar to you in whatever fashion or respect, and in the big picture scheme of things, not to like get into Army terminology, but Zach, like shaping operations and everything, and how this fits into the big picture of the United States Army recruiting mission. The program itself serves multiple purposes because, like Sergeant Davis says, the main intent is giving back to the community. It's not always about what can the school do for us as recruiters, what can the coaches do, what can the administrations do, what can we do to impact the lives of these young student athletes. How can we give back to the community? A lot of the schools that we do, don't have the money to afford these other big programs or these other big workout, like the program, for example, to come to their school and do these kinds of things. So that's our way of giving back to the community, and that is the main reason that Staff Sergeant Davis started this program. And then obviously recruiting, we do have our quotas, we do have our numbers, so it does help the local recruiters, get better access to that school and improve their relationships with the administrations and the coaching staff. Because Staff Sergeant Davis and myself, we don't actually do any recruiting. Like I'm not there to sign up these kids, to even really talk to them about the Army. That's not what we're there for.
Yeah.
However, for the last 3 workouts that we've done, this past week we just got done with 3 last week. We've been in Alabama, South Georgia. We've been traveling all over. At the end of every workout, and Staff Sergeant Davis, you can speak on this as well, as I've had at least one kid come up to me and be like, hey, sir, can I talk to you about the Army? I've been thinking about joining the infantry, or what do you think about that? Like, can I just sit down and talk to you? And like, I'm absolutely there to like talk to them about that. But our goal is to kind of get them connected with the local recruiters in that area, because Staff Sergeant Davis, well, you know what Staff Sergeant Davis can, because he's got that winning mentality and he has that work ethic. So he could recruit for the entire Southeast region, but that's a lot of responsibility. And the last thing I'll say about the program is, with these football teams, with any athletic team that we do, not every student is going to get a D1 scholarship to play football, to play baseball, to run track, which is fine. Not everyone's going to get that opportunity, because it's a cutthroat world. There's high demand for it. Everyone's trying to get to that next level, and not everyone's cut out for it. And so, if that's your primary plan for college, to pay for college, to kind of get out of the small town that you grew up in, we're there just to provide the information and show you, like, look, there are other ways. Here's the Army. You can do a one contract for 3 years, get bigger, stronger, tone on your athletic ability, and then still get the NCAA slot later on down the line. So there's just so many purposes to this program, which is why it's so beneficial, not just to the organization and the Army, but to these coaches and their programs as well.
Yeah, it's a pretty diverse program, clearly. And I'm gonna continue to kind of poke holes in this thing just to show people, what it's really about. I mean, Sergeant Davis, tell me, like, how much does this thing cost, man? Are you telling me that like every single high school, like every single recruiting station in the country needs 2 guys who are just like you and Schumacher, who are just as driven as you guys, and need this program everywhere, and we need to buy those yellow pulley things and all of these things? Like, is the Army going to invest more money in this thing, or is this something that you're doing because you love it? And how much, what is the cost here, if any?
The only cost, the gas money for us to get from place and sales, if we travel, over at least 200 to 300 miles. All the equipment that we use can be easily, how you got stuff just laying around, units that we can get, rucksacks, litters. We can sign all that stuff out, and it costs literally nothing. I guess if you get to the bigger scale of, if, like my original, thing was, hey, let's get this thing USAREC wide, it would probably cost a little bit to start. But when you're talking USAREC money, the big time money, millions of dollars, I've been told they've spent $60,000 on a boat. It wouldn't cost nowhere near that dollar amount. And, you're talking USAREC wide, but, for this brigade, for 2nd Recruiting Brigade, and then, Atlanta Battalion, and then soon to be Montgomery Battalion, it costs nothing. It just takes 2 hours out of everybody's day to get out there and make these kids better. So,
to put this into perspective too, Zach, and I'm not going to say any names or mention any programs, but there's another program out there called The Program, and Zach, I'm sure you've actually heard of it, because it's run by like a couple of ex-Navy SEALs who go around. They run these leadership seminars, these team building seminars, and they charge Sergeant Davis. What do they charge? $20,000 every school.
A ton of money.
Well,
tons of money.
So it depends. What I think they have these packages that you can do, and so I followed one. Coach Gross, he's a so if he ends up watching this, he can tell you himself. I want to say he told me he paid $5,000 for a day, maybe somewhere in that number. Don't quote me on that, but he and I'm just going to be point blank. I put our program up against anything that's out there.
Absolutely.
This is free, and I promise you that we make more of an impact than any program out there. With the resources that we have, with for one, it's free. So I know you're going to choose my program, and I know I'm going to work your team harder than anybody else that can. So
that's just the thing, is like the demand is out there, because there are schools and there are programs who are paying $10,000 to $20,000 to have a similar program. And in our unbiased opinion,
man. Yeah, here's this crazy, man. Sorry to cut you off, but like all I'm thinking about is like there's no hiding the fact that kids are in sports in, you name it, school X to probably get away from some not so great upbringings, like football, you name their sport, it is a release for them. It's an escape for them. So there is no way these public or private schools have the money to be shelling out, $15,000, $20,000 to a Jocko Willink leadership seminar. We all would love Jocko Willink to come and talk to my kids and about leadership and whatever. But frankly, like, I'd rather spend that 20 grand on books and computers for my kids in my school. So like what you guys are doing, like, it is literally free. You guys are already in uniform. You're doing it on your work day. You're representing the Army well. And I think, like that's like the main, the absolute like bonus for everything. I think more people should be doing this, frankly. Like there's nothing preventing two athletic dudes from just going out and just like working out.
So that's a common. That's crazy. That's something we hear a lot.
Yeah. Also, why can't I do this? Like, what makes you different from me? Or like, why can't?
So I'll tell you what makes it unique.
Be a coach like you guys.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this program can't be replicated, because anyone can go out and acquire the equipment that we use, and put a football team or any sports team through a hour and a half workout, right?
Yeah.
That is not unheard of. That is what everyone should be doing. That's just something that recruiters should be doing in general.
Yeah.
But I would say what makes this program unique is, one, Staff Sergeant Davis's background in football, the coaching community, the network that we've built with the program and through Sergeant Davis's personal network. Because if you're a big-time coach, not even a big-time coach, if you're just a football coach, you're not just going to trust anyone to come in and really mess with your team's routine, your team's schedule, especially, during season, off season. You have a program that you're running, and you're like, that's your job. Like, your salary, your way of life depends on your success and the success of your team. So you're not just going to let anyone come in and, get in the way of that. So that is the reputation that Staff Sergeant Davis and the program have earned, because like he touched on it earlier, is they call each other, and the program has spread like wildfire through word of mouth and through social media. But most importantly, it's the energy. It's the energy that we bring and the precedent that we set at these workouts, because, we say it every time, the standard is the standard, and we're going to make sure no matter who your team is, where you're from, we're going to, everyone's going to get the same workout, and they're going to have the opportunity to take away the same lessons that any other team that went through that workout is. So it's that energy, and it's the hype that we bring.
I love it. And Davis, I'm going to ask you my next question. We're talking about hype, competition, adversity, bringing in people from all different backgrounds and things like that. Who are the big names in your program right now? Who are the top schools you've trained with? I mean, I want this, podcast. I want coaches to be watching this and be like, oh, hell no, is, this school, the top. And like, Davis, come back here for another workout. We're going to prove you wrong. I want to, like, who's the top of the game right now? Like, in your area, where are you focusing your efforts? Who's the best? Where are you going to next? What's going on?
Davis, before you answer that, let's talk about how many schools have gone through the workout so far.
Oh, sorry about that.
Because that'll add a lot of credibility, because we're not talking like 10 schools here. We're talking.
Yeah. Tell me everything.
I'll put it like this. We've done over 100 schools and ranges. And that was even before COVID. If COVID wasn't happened, you're talking Coastal Carolina.
500.
You're talking Coastal Carolina was in the fold. Colleges were in the fold. So, but if we're going strictly high school, I will say this. Alabama, Georgia, we have some scheduled in Florida. But the two schools that stick out to me the most, and
let's hear it.
I already know what he's thinking. Two schools. That's Westlake High School in Atlanta and Colquitt County in South Georgia.
Those boys are built different, man.
Westlake is actually where Cam Newton graduated from high school.
Hey, JP, before you go into that, another one I really was thinking about today that really hit good was North Cobb.
Yeah, absolutely.
North Cobb is going to be a team that a lot of people are going to be like, damn, these boys are here to play. They're tough. They show up, and their coach, he's pretty hard-nosed dude. Coach Queen, he's really hard-nosing. those three teams right there stuck out to me the most. Obviously, those are three of the biggest schools that we've done, and maybe that's what feeds me the energy. But McEachern, the biggest thing for me is when coaches get involved with it. I love that. That makes the energy go too.
I love it.
Westlake, they play the underdog. They don't have, the best weight room. They don't have the best field. They don't have, dining facilities. They just go there and they come to work. And I like that about Westlake, and, Colquitt County, I showed up there. When we showed up, about a month ago, they said, we want to be the best. What can we add in? We'll go even more than 2 hours, because they wanted to reset the standard. And it was like, man, these guys right here, we added in some things.
I guess we fired up, man. I guess we fired the hell up, man.
And then we start sitting there, and it's like, dang, me and JP sit back and think, you got the Westlake and the Colquitt counties, and hey, they play each other in week 2. So
and these aren't just small name high schools. Like, if you're not familiar with the state of Georgia, Westlake is in the heart of Atlanta. Like I said, that's where Cam Newton went to high school. Colquitt County's in South Georgia. If you're listening in, South Georgia is a whole different breed of football.
Different breed of football. They feed those kids differently down there, man.
And Colquitt County that is a multiple state championship football team. Yeah. And they breed winners. And so for us to even have the opportunity to get involved with a program like that was like incredibly like humbling and just like a privilege. You know what I mean? Like, we showed up to that campus and it was like a college campus with a indoor turf practice facility, a practice turf facility on the outside. Like, the fact that this coach trusted us and trusted our program to come out there and work with his kids and put them through this workout, like, that meant so much to us.
Yeah. So moral of the story, if you're not Westlake or Colquitt County, like, you're on notice right now. You gotta get your life together, or call the experts for them to help you. Obviously, that's the message. Obviously,
I will say this. It just dawned on me. You think about this, JP. Just sit back. You got the North Cobbs and the Colquitt counties and the Westlake. Not only, did they trust us coming in with those big name programs, but the hospitality that they gave us, with not ever meeting us except a phone call or maybe a Twitter message. We got fed by all 3 teams. Made sure our team was fed. So that right there means a lot to me, and it goes, even when they give me a shirt, that goes far with me. The hospitality that they give us, I really appreciate that. We probably don't tell them enough how we appreciate stuff like that. Coach at McEachern, Coach Stevens, every year we come, he gave us a visor this year. That's some things that they do that I like. Those big time schools, I like that.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love seeing that. I mean, you guys are doing something for them, but I mean, you hear this more often than not. I mean, coaches say all the time, it's what these kids are doing for me. It's how they're making me better, and I'm sure you two guys have gotten a lot better, and it's changed your perspective on work ethic and adversity too. And I kind of want to ask you guys, like, I got a couple more questions for you guys before we end this, but I kind of want to say, I kind of want to say, how are you guys getting your name out there? Like, I saw the video on Max Preps of the video I just showed. That thing got like 10,000 likes on Max Preps on Instagram. So talk to me about your use of social media and like the marketing. How are you guys like taking this thing, which is literally just an idea in that bald head of yours, Sergeant Davis? It's literally just an idea in your head that just exploded. How are you, like, JP, you're kind of the mastermind. I'll kind of give this question to you. How are you using social media to like shoot this thing, to like get this thing popular?
Yeah, that's something that, definitely has kind of taken a little bit of time to kind of figure out, because like Sergeant Davis said, like, the program has been going on for 3 years. Like, he's been doing this for 3 years. But I would say that, on social media, the program has really blown up the past 3 months during this off season, the off season for football in this calendar year. And so if you don't mind, Zach, dropping our social media handles in the chat.
We've got
the Army. The actual program social media page is Army_athlete on both Instagram and Twitter. And then I put a lot of content on my own Twitter page for the program, which is JP Schumacher 5. So social media has been, like with anything else in the modern era, our biggest platforms for getting the program out there, other than word of mouth from coaches who refer the program to other coaches that they know across the nation.
Yeah.
So the clip you mentioned, we did a workout with Salem High School, which is also another high school in Atlanta. A lot of phenomenal athletes come out of that school. They had a junior who was committed to Michigan State, and so we caught a clip of him doing the tug pull, which is one of the team building exercises that we do towards the end of the workout to kind of drive that competitive spirit and give them a chance to call each other out and everything like that. So that clip made it onto multiple, sports pages on Instagram and Twitter over time. There was a couple others, Sergeant Davis, and those pages have a couple million followers, and so the clip itself got hundreds of thousands of views. Unfortunately, they did not give us video credits or tag our page. That video that made it onto Overtime was filmed from my iPhone. And obviously, I posted it on Twitter and our Instagram to kind of show what we do. And then somebody took that clip and, posted it. So while, we got the program out there and we got the clip out there, we didn't get credit for it, which sucks.
Hey, but you're getting credit now. That's what's important. I'm helping you get credit now.
But that's not what it's about. It's not about the credit.
It's not about the credit.
Yeah.
But Davis, how are you? What are you doing specifically to kind of get the word out there?
Oh yeah, so I want to go back to when it first started. You know how JP mentioned that the social media, we didn't have, me and my buddy Sergeant Glaze. I don't know if he's watching or not, or he probably will see this. Me and he was our social media guy before he got stationed, in Washington. But he had the best explanation of this. When you see, and I know you probably don't see it too much, Zach, just based off of what your status is, but when I'll just use this in general, when you direct in general put something out, or if I share something on my work Facebook page, the only people that are liking the things that I put on my work social media is other recruiters. So you're not when I post it, and when Sergeant Glaze would say, when we would post this video of these kids out here grinding, even if it was on Facebook, which is probably the most out of date we use, you got all these mom, dads, grandmas saying, dang, look at my baby out there working with the Army. Then they started sharing it, and we were recruiting, we were getting into the whole community at that level. And so the social media side was, it's definitely sparked up on like Twitter, Instagram, but Facebook, we had that thing going for a while. So Sergeant Glaze, I give Sergeant Glaze all the credit for that.
I love it. I mean, frankly, you're, any program, any good effort, frankly, is not worth a damn unless it's popularized and not getting the word out there. Because you can do a great thing for one school, but why do it for one school when you could popularize it and make it meaningful for more than just one school?
Yeah.
And the other side of it is obviously the program is funded with government money, with Army funds. We are in the Army. That's our job. So, in order to justify us doing this full time with the program, we have to have a return on investment. You know what I mean? We have to show that this program is worth it and that it's benefiting the organization and our mission. And so we actually have all of our social media accounts connected to a data analytics system, a third-party platform known as the Sprinkler system. And what that does is it pulls all of the data and gives us data reports to see what our overall reach is of our content that we publish on all platforms, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And I pull these reports usually on a weekly basis, but really to see what our platforms are doing over a monthly trend, to see what our reach is, how many people are seeing our content. And in the last, just since we started this off season back in late February, early March, So maybe around 2 months worth of content and worth of workouts that we've done. Our reach has been nearly right about now with these last 6 workouts that we did over the last 2 weeks, 400,000, 450,000.
Man,
And
that's
to
insane.
put that into perspective for you, a recruiting company, a recruiting station, a recruiting battalion, their monthly reach is about 10,000, 12,000, like pretty small. So there's a lot of potential for this program and using it as a tool without undermining its original vision of giving back to the community and leaving an impact on these young student athletes and their lives. But there is, some bigger picture visions that I see this program going big time for the Army and for recruiting in the future with Staff Sergeant Davis leading it.
So let's, you took the words right out of my mouth, JP. Like, Sergeant Davis, what is the future of this thing? What's next? Are we doing colleges? Are we talking professional teams? Are we talking more sports? I mean, you're leaving Chattanooga where it all started, and you're going to take it with you to Panama City. Like, what are you leaving behind? What are you taking with you? What is the future of this thing?
Well, I'm going to do this wherever I go. And so my next destination is Panama City. I'm hoping that, Atlanta Battalion can possibly find someone to get in there and, to do the same around the same thing. But, if the Army wants to make this a thing just within a brigade to test it out to see what it can do, we're waiting. We're waiting on that phone call.
We're waiting.
That's it. That's what we do.
I love it.
I'm going to Dothan Company and Montgomery Battalion. It's funny because the workouts that we did in Alabama, the news crews came out there. I've had 2 coaches from that area call me today. So my new company, First Sergeant Commander, hopefully they're kind of happy because I already got like 4 workouts scheduled. They don't even know it yet. They hear, and we even have an event scheduled. The director of player personnel for the Chicago Bears, Champ Kelly, I got to reach out to him. He wants us to come out and, he runs a free camp for kids ages 12 through 18, I believe. And he's heard about it. And he wanted us to come out last year, but obviously COVID stopped it. So we're going to go ahead and Panama City too. So
perfect.
June. So we're going to be out there doing that. That's just the kickstart it when we get out there. When I get on how they hold me down or what they got me doing, this would be what I'm trying to do wherever
That's amazing. Davis, if you see, let me ask you one more question. I can see he's getting excited. The peak, if this program was like at its best, at the very, very tip top of its performance, where are you seeing yourself? What does this program look like? Am I going to see you on ESPN? Am I going to get my own T-shirt? Am I going to get, does it have are you going to open your own gym? Are you going to what are we looking at here? I mean, what is the apex of success for this program?
Well, if I can maintain this for 10 more years and keep this energy, hey, you might see me whenever I get out of the Army doing something like this. But, at the end of the day, my passion is to coach football, and this gets me closest to it. And, once I get out of the Army, will I ever do this again? I hope I can bring this to a team, that for whatever coaching staff decides to take me on. But I will say that I want to leave a mark for the Army. I don't care to make any profit off of this. If I was to ever get out, you don't have to pay me $10,000 to come work out your team. I want somebody else to say, hey, I remember Sergeant Davis and, LT Schumacher coming to my unit, and this is what they did. Let's do the same things they were doing. Even when I'm, 50 years old and I'm looking back and I'm walking around with my retired hat and I hear that's what it is. I want this thing. That's where I envision this thing, is this being a next man up type thing. Whenever I'm gone, somebody else step up to the plate and do it.
Yeah, real quick, Sergeant Davis, I just want to address something that came up in the chat real quick. to Zebra Master 10208. We're going to talk about that in a separate time. I'm gonna send you a message right after this and kind of talk to you about this. We're not focusing on that topic right now. But again, for you guys who are curious about that, I've actually had a lot of questions about psychological and mental health in the Army. I think we might do a segment on that, maybe in a couple weeks. But I'm going to get back to you like completely separately after this. I just want to keep the conversation tailored to the athletics and the Warrior Army Challenge program that these guys are putting on. So Zebra, good question. I'm going to get back to that after this. JP, I'm going to let you talk for a second. What is the future of this program? Once Sergeant Davis leaves, once he takes all his talent, you're not going to have this awesome like bald-headed dude, running around with a crap ton of energy. Like, what is the future of this program? What does it look like? What does it look like when he leaves?
That's kind of the reason, why we're on here tonight. And, like I said earlier, like I really appreciate you letting us use your podcast and using your platform to create more awareness and to get the information out there. Because, I've pretty much fully invested into this program the last couple of months with Staff Sergeant Davis. And, unfortunately, recruiting is not my full-time job. I'll see you here in 7 months back at Fort Leonard Wood when we go back out into the, the engineer world. So, right now, I think what I'm trying to help Staff Sergeant Davis with is just get the traction and get the support that he's going to need to make this into a long-term sustaining operation. Because eventually it will require more personnel. It will require more funding to put it on the scale that it is currently demanding. Because like I said, there are states all across the nation, coaches, programs reaching out to us. The DMs on Twitter are full of coaches who are wanting us to get the program out there. And we would love to bring the program to every single school, but with just Staff Sergeant Davis and myself and the other work that, we have to do outside of this program, it's not realistic and it's not sustainable with the support that we currently have. So this is just another way that we're trying to reach out to get more support, more attention and notice from higher up to turn this into a long-term thing.
And frankly, I hope you do. I hope you guys do get that support. I mean, this is a worthwhile program. It's a worthwhile endeavor. I could just see from that video that these kids are just, really wanting more, as every young athlete does in whatever sport you're doing. But I wouldn't be surprised if I saw you guys like going on to college campuses and talking to those kids, and
we have a few lined up.
You have a few colleges lined up, like junior colleges. Like, I wouldn't honestly be surprised. Like, you see military members interacting with pro teams all the time. I wouldn't be surprised if like you said, the Bears or whoever that was, if they reached out to you and were like, hey, we want to do something with our team and their families. We want to do this community event for everyone. That's where I see this program going. I think that'd be awesome. But again, I think, unless you guys have any, closing comments, for this for this talk, I just really wanted to say thank you for coming on the podcast. We ran the whole gamut. I think I'm going to show this video one more time before we cut out. But JP and Sergeant Davis, any last things you want to say, any shout outs you want to give to, any of your recruiting buddies or any social media accounts you want me to ping or anything like that, you say it now, and then I'm going to play the video to close us out.
I love that. Touch on Davis. Go ahead.
I got if General Funk, sir, if you end up watching this podcast, General Vereen, I'm telling you, you will not be making a mistake if you buy into this. I promise you, you will not make a mistake. But at the end of the day, what's the motto, JP? Some can, some
can't. Some can,
some can't.
I love it.
I'm actually here in Fort Walton Beach, Florida, for our brigade quarterly training conference. So, hopefully I'll get the opportunity to kind of talk to the brigade commander and give him more information about the program and just continue to try every day to get this thing to the next level. But at the end of the day, I'm just happy that Sergeant Davis and I are both able to kind of connect our passion for football and for developing the youth through coaching into our mission as Army recruiters. So once again, Zach, thank you so much for having us on and for letting us use your platform and podcast to talk about the program.
Hell yeah. Yeah, gentlemen, I'm going to play this. I'm going to play this video one more time just because I love it for the people who I can see a bunch of people actually just hopped on at the end. While this, right before this video plays, I just want to say the podcast is going to be available live tonight, like immediately right after this thing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out the really good parts, and JP and Sergeant Davis are just going to blast them on all their social medias to get their to blow up. Basically, I'm gonna post the whole video on my YouTube channel, but I'm gonna send these guys some cuts so that you guys can share these 10, 15, and 30-second clips and get the word out as fast as possible on all the social media sites that these guys have been talking about. So I'm gonna play this clip one more time and we're gonna end it. So gentlemen, I appreciate your time, and hopefully I'll see you on the field sometime. Let's go.
Thanks, Zach.
Yeah.
Baby, you'll be famous, chase you down until you love me. Paparazzi. 'Cause you know that, baby, I'm your biggest fan. I'll follow you until you love me. Paparazzi. Baby, there's no other superstar you know that
Hey, I got one thing.
Yeah,
Hey.
close us out. Let's hear it.
Hey, I'm about to get off of here, but ask JP how me and him did the tug, and I drug him all the way across the field.
If there's a video of it, I'll show it on the next podcast. If there's a video, I'll show it. But I'm not going to take any unproven smack talk on my podcast. Absolutely not. You send me the video when it's going on. It's going on YouTube. Send me the video. It's going on YouTube. But boys, I appreciate it. I'll catch you later.
Have a good one.
Peace.